Hello and welcome to InvestorToday.ca. I'm your host, Dave Glover. InvestorToday.ca is brought to you in conjunction with RBL Communications. Joining us for the next few minutes will be the president of Cornerstone Capital Resources Inc., Mr. Brooke Macdonald. Cornerstone trades over the counter at CTNXF. It's on the TSX Venture as CGP and on the Frankfurt as GWN. Cornerstone Capital Resources Inc., is a mineral exploration company based in Mount Pearl, Newfoundland and Labrador, Canada, with a diversified portfolio of projects in Ecuador, Chile, and Atlantic Canada, as well as having a strong technical team that has proven its ability to identify, acquire, and advance properties of merit. The company's business model is based on generating exploration projects whose subsequent development is funded primarily through joint venture partnerships. The company is well-funded, and commitments from JV partners constitute significant validation of the strength of Cornerstone's projects. For further information, it is available on Cornerstone's website at www.cornerstoneresources.com. Again, I'd like to welcome the president of the company, Mr. Brooke Macdonald. Brooke, nice to talk to you today.
Thank you very much, Dave. Nice to talk to you.
Well, I guess we should get right to it. Obviously, the markets have been tumultuous of late, but let's talk about what is your vision. You are the new president of Cornerstone Capital Resources, that's correct?
Correct. I was appointed in late February this year.
Well, let's get right to it. What is your vision, if I may ask, for Cornerstone?
Dave, what I'd like to see happen at Cornerstone is the creation of significant value for our shareholders by advancing exploration at several key properties in our portfolio. Cornerstone's strategy is to be a prospect generator. We find properties of merit, then we add value through systematic exploration. Right now we're focused, as you mentioned, on a number of highly prospective gold and copper properties in Ecuador and Chile, and on the Little Deer Copper Project in Newfoundland.
Well, can you tell us a little bit about these properties?
Sure. I'll start with our South American properties because these assets probably have the biggest potential impact on the company and its share price. The most advanced project is called Shiri, located in southern Ecuador, about 16 kilometers to the west of IM Gold's multi-million-ounce gold Quimsacocha deposit. The property is optioned to Intrepid Mines of Australia, who are spending US $6 million over 5 years on the property to earn a 60% interest. Intrepid can choose to go to 80% on specific project areas up to 5,000 hectares each by making a $750,000 private placement in Cornerstone, completing a bankable feasibility study, or spending an additional US $20 million, whichever comes first, and making a payment to Cornerstone of up to $5 million based on the gold equivalent ounces in the mineral reserve. Intrepid has already spent over US $2.7 million completing a Phase 1 drilling program on the Gamma prospect at Shiri. We got some good results from the program in that we seem to have discovered an extensive gold-enriched copper molybdenum porphyry. Hole number 2 of the initial 11-hole program intersected 45 meters at 0.71 grams per ton gold within a broader zone of 101 meters at 0.41 grams per ton gold, and hole 11 of the program intersected 26 meters at 0.45 grams per ton gold. A thorough technical review of the Phase 1 drilling program was completed in Ecuador in late August 2011 by the combined team of Intrepid and Cornerstone geologists and geophysical consultants. Based on these results, a proposal for Phase 2 work at Gamma, including soil geochemical sampling, ground geophysical surveys, and drilling on the porphyry and epithermal targets, will be presented to Intrepid's board for consideration in the next few weeks.
Wow, that's quite something. Now, do you think the Intrepid's board will approve the proposal?
Well, I can't speak for them, Dave. I can tell you that everyone on our team was very excited about the Phase 1 success and is confident that we will continue on. I was down in Cuenca, Ecuador for the wrap-up couple of days of the technical review and met everyone on the Intrepid and side of the team, and I could see that there's a lot of excitement on both sides of the table. In the meantime, in addition to continuing work on the Gamma soil sampling and geophysical surveying programs, community consultations have begun at another key target on Shiri, Cañaribamba. We will also begin shortly consultations at a third target, Betas Grandes, in an effort to have environmental permitting ready to support drilling those targets around the end of the first quarter in 2012.
Well, that does sound quite exciting down there. Now, what else is happening in Ecuador beyond the Shiri project?
We had some very good initial results at our newly acquired 100% owned Cascabel property in northern Ecuador. We took 179 rock samples and found that most were anomalous in gold, copper, and zinc. We also found significant free gold when we panned in most of the streams that run through the property. This is pretty exciting for just a few weeks of work, so we plan to move to a full exploration program in the near future.
Mm-hmm. Well, that does sound rather exciting. Now, you also talked about Chile. Can we talk about what's happening in Chile?
Yes, Cornerstone is making great progress there, too. In late August, we released the first results from our La Fortuna property, where we have an option to earn a 100% interest. Significant copper and silver assay results were obtained in the northern two-thirds of the property, with 7 prospective mineralized zones identified over a large area of approximately 18 square kilometers. Channel sampling at trench number 1 returned 19.5 meters at 1.34% copper and 58 grams per ton silver. We've completed over 200 line kilometers of ground magnetic surveys, and that data is currently being processed and interpreted. We also plan to carry out induced polarization surveys in prospective areas. There are already some obvious drill targets, and with further trenching and integration of magnetic and IP data, new targets will be developed. Also in Chile, we've made application for exploration concessions covering approximately 300 square kilometers in our Miocene project area, located just north of the Maricunga magmatic belt that hosts several world-class gold deposits.
Well, let's talk about North America now. Can you tell us the listeners what's going on at Little Deer?
Sure. Little Deer is the company's most advanced asset. Along with our JV partner, Thunderman Resources, we've increased the resource at Little Deer to indicated resources totaling 99 million pounds of copper and inferred resources of 175 million pounds of copper. Our belief is that this is a significant resource that has a strong potential to be developed into a new mine. That belief led us to exercise the option recently to acquire 100% of the property from the original vendor. It's also the reason that we have invested in an internal scoping study to take an early look at potential mining methods and indicative economics. The results of that internal review are expected in October.
Okay, so we should be getting those fairly soon then. But now that you're so far along on Little Deer, do you see yourselves developing the project actually into a mine?
Well, there's still considerable work to be done before Little Deer heads down the development trail, including, of course, the completion of a feasibility study and environmental impact statement. Thunderman can earn up to a 75% interest in the project by completing a bankable feasibility study and arranging for the financing to put Little Deer into commercial production. Whether Cornerstone and Thunderman ultimately develop the property is an open question. Generally speaking, Cornerstone's strategy of prospect generation precludes us from going to the development stage. If that were to be the case with Little Deer, we would have a number of options to realize value. For example, we could sell our interest to Thunderman or to a third company that was development-focused. Nothing's really been decided at this point, and we remain open to a number of approaches.
Mm-hmm. Well, this brings us to our next question. With all the work that's going on at your various projects and the success that you've had thus far, why, and I know this is probably a crazy question, but why has the share price not performed well lately?
Not crazy at all, and it's the question I get most from investors. From a share price perspective, we started the year with a real bang. When we first announced that the government of Ecuador had granted the exploration license at Gamma, our shares shot up to 75 cents the first week of the Prospectors and Developers Convention in Toronto in March. Since then, we've seen a general market decline in which, unfortunately, most junior explorer stocks have suffered. This is particularly ironic since commodity prices are holding up very well. We're working hard to implement our strategy. We've been able to work on several properties. We've made a discovery at Gamma, and we've been very active in meeting potential new investors. When the market turns, we believe that companies like Cornerstone, who do what they say they're going to do, will benefit tremendously from a rising market.
Mm-hmm. Well, staying on the same vein, this theme, if you will, were you surprised that Phase 1 drilling results at Gamma didn't affect the share price very much?
Yes, in some ways I was. As I said before, general market softness might have been a contributing factor, but I also think that porphyry deposits are not as well understood by investors as they should be. These deposits generally have lower grades than vein-type deposits. However, they're very extensive systems that provide significant near-surface bulk tonnage mineralization. In addition, they are often polymetallic. In the case of Gamma, we believe that we may have discovered a very large copper moly porphyry that is gold enriched. I might add that some of the world's biggest producing mines are on porphyry deposits.
Mm-hmm. So what is your prediction for commodity prices then, particularly gold?
I see no reason for prices to decline much in the near future. Sovereign debt issues are reinforcing gold's role as a store of value, and emerging market countries like China still seem poised to continue growing, which will create demand for base metals like copper, especially in the medium to long term. Cornerstone plans to continue regular updates to shareholders on its activities, and we invite investors to contact us with other inquiries at any time.
Well, and as I said at the outset, Cornerstone Capital Resources is a mineral exploration company based in Mount Pearl, Newfoundland and Labrador, Canada, with diversified portfolios of projects in Ecuador, Chile, and Atlantic Canada. You've put together a really strong team. For further information, obviously, individuals can go directly to your website. That is www.cornerstoneresources.com. This interview is being conducted on Wednesday, the 21st of September, 2011. And as a cautionary note, certain statements contained in this letter to shareholders may be considered as forward-looking. Such forward-looking statements are subject to risk and uncertainties that could cause actual results to differ materially from estimates or implied results. While Cornerstone anticipates that subsequent events may cause its views to change, it expressly disclaims any obligation to update the forward-looking statements contained herein. Well, as always, in the last moment or so, I like to give the president, if you will, the last words. Can we give us a little last word on Cornerstone Capital Resources, Brooke?
Well, I'd just like to thank investors, Dave, for their continued patience, especially investors who bought in at higher prices than we were trading now. And I think we're going to have good news flow during the balance of this year and well into next year, and I would ask investors to stick with us, and I think that you'll be rewarded if you do.
Mm-hmm. Well, that sounds like some sound advice, Brooke. I want to thank Mr. Brooke Macdonald, the president of Cornerstone Capital Resources Inc. You are the new president, and obviously you've got a pretty full plate to deal with, especially right now with commodities being what they are. Remind the viewers that Cornerstone trades on the OTC, over-the-counter at CTNX, on the TSX Venture at CGP, and on the Frankfurt at GWN. Again, I'd like to thank Mr. Brooke Macdonald. My name is Dave Glover. This has been Investor Today, brought to you by RBL Communications. Again, this recording took place on the 21st of September, 2001. Thanks again, Brooke.
Thank you, Dave.